Okay, we're on. Great. All right, well, this is the last session for the day, and it's a panel discussion, and we have a number of prestigious panelists here. So thank you very much for volunteering to be part of the panel. You've actually heard each of these people speak today. And now is a chance to take a more unstructured approach to the day's proceedings and ask some questions of our panelists. So hopefully some of you will be thinking about questions that might be appropriate, and we'll just pass the mic around the panel here and see what comes out. So does anyone have a question to kick off with?
I'll start by asking one, if I may. With all the talk of cognitive radio, I'm particularly interested to see what kind of frames people see as a realistic implementation of significant cognitive radio solutions.
How many angels?
Okay, well, I'm on. Des's answer was how many angels can you stick on the head of a pin?
Well, I think it's... Whoops, sorry. I think it's probably... Oh, no. Coach Allen.
Okay. My first glib remark was how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's kind of an unknown number. At a guess, I'm thinking 5 to 7 years before we see really serious, full-blown cognitive radios in other than the military.
Okay, I've got a different answer. We'll be pleased to hear this. I don't think that there will be a. Well, I think the question is not specific enough in the sense that I think cognitive radios will be progressively introduced for a start in unlicensed spectrum services, and I think they already are, in the sense that progressive IEEE standards are putting more and more cognitive capability in. When you would say this is a full-blown cognitive radio, I think that's a very tough question to ask when you cross the threshold. The other interesting observation I'd make, and I'm throwing one back to Mansour, and I'll pass the mic down in a minute. I was interested at ICC that a lot of the cellular providers are saying we're starting to develop cognitive concepts in LTE Advanced at the moment, and thinking beyond LTE Advanced, building progressively more and more cognitive capabilities into our thinking for future cellular systems.
You, Mansour.
Well, first of all, let me answer Doug's question. At the Crown Com 209, Joe Mitola was the guest speaker, amongst many other guest speakers, but he was a celebrity. And so the Mitola radio, let's be specific, cognitive radio, when will be, so let's be specific, the Mitola radio, which probably one would think is the fully cognitive radio, was considered to be, at the Crown Com 209, not anything earlier than 2020. This was the opinion of Mitola and many other people present. But if you ask me why they considered 2020, there wasn't enough time to debate this. Now, the next question, which Alan Coulson said, yes, LTE Advanced has some cognitive thoughts in it, but let me take you back for a moment on MIMO techniques. We heard today a presentation about the spectral efficiency of MIMO. That is a single point-to-point link, and in that sense it will have a fantastic spectral efficiency. But when you use it in a cellular environment, you have other cell interference, and this other cell interference is extremely dominant, and this reduces the SNR very, very significantly. And as a result, the linear growth in spectral efficiency which you find, its growth is there, but the median SNR now is very poor because of other cell interference. So LTE advanced is relying on the fact how to improve this other cell interference. If all the base stations and handsets in a cooperating cluster can exchange the channel state information between themselves and between the base stations and all the permutation combinations to some centralized controller, then this controller can decide a base station A should talk to a user A, base station B should talk to a user B, so that there is no interference on other users. This is the cognitive concept being talked about within the LTE domain. But to pass this information on to a network of cognitive radios, no one is thinking about that. Thank you.
Go, Murray.
I don't need to say anything. I think you're going to see it.
Okay. We're on. Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions?
Oh, you'll hear me from here.
Back on the cognitive radio bandwagon again, and interesting to hear that 2020 is so the question may be a little bit irrelevant at this stage, but to me it seems like it has the potential to devalue the spectrum considerably if people start seeing this as a bit of free spectrum. So the owners of that spectrum might be a little worried perhaps, or in fact when it comes up for auction next time, the prices might be quite a bit lower. Is that something you could see happening over the time?
Reduced income, eh? Yeah, bad news.
Comments?
I could comment if you would.
Do you want to kill cognitive now?
Perhaps.
Press, I'll jump in here, Chris. I don't
Oh, okay.
But from a ministry's perspective, I guess our view has always been that spectrum is not sold to maximise the revenue for the Crown. It is about actually trying to allocate the spectrum efficiently to those who actually value it the most, whether that be $1, $100, or several $1 million. So it's not about the quantum. However, you're quite right. I'm sure that as more spectrum becomes available, as supply becomes greater, then simple supply-demand sort of thinking would suggest that price would tend to come down.
Thank you. Just